Alright. Okay. Treehouse Isekai, Sean's Story, Chapter 60, the second last chapter. We are getting to the end of it. Here we go! Where are you? And I'm sorry. No, I think it's funny, Callie, and interesting, you know. Not that it has no bearing on me, you know. It's just a conversational topic, whatever it may be. I wasn't very observant of my surroundings as I barreled through the trees and out onto the earth side of the portal, stopping the excavator as Karena pulled up beside me in the D8 dozer. There, just outside the barrier, was the black car of the federal agents. Failing to notice this, Karena and I exited our respective heavy vehicles, which were covered in gore, and started towards the stairs when the voice of an agent caught my attention. "Mr. Waltron!" Whipped my head around to look at the agents as they made their way towards me. "As I'm sure you can tell, I'm in no state to deal with annoyances today. One of my wives, the very woman you spotted on that camera, got injured while defending our home, and I intend to check on her." Ignoring the agent, I went up the stairs and shortly heard the sound of the agent impacting the barrier. "Nothing you can do, even with the full might of the U.S. government, can never breach that barrier. May as well give up. As of this moment, my property is sovereign land. No more property taxes from me. Hope you're proud of yourselves." Gunfire was heard behind me, but nothing came of it. "Why are you being so antagonistic?" Gorgeous asked. I didn't answer, but lifted her into the air and pulled her tight to my chest as I smothered her with my mouth. She didn't mind the attention. When I finally managed to release her, she smirked at me. "I know they told you I'd be fine. We can handle injuries like that with no issues," growled under my breath. "I don't care what anyone says. Seeing my family getting hurt steals all my reasoning. Now to deal with the annoyances." Rana came out of the door and took aim with her energy weapon. I switched my security setup to broadcast to all social media outlets that allow for live stream videos, as the pulses of energy neutralized the agents where they were. Military jeep approached immediately thereafter, and several armed troops exited the vehicle. "Mr. Waltron, you're surrounded. Come out peacefully, and you won't be harmed." "I've committed no crime, therefore your statement is a criminal act, Sergeant. It is also being live streamed along with the federal agent's criminal assault on my property. Useless as it is, you are in no position to give orders here." "Open fire!" All 6 soldiers opened fire, and after about 10 seconds had emptied their magazines to absolutely no effect. Rana took aim again directly at the sergeant, who had ordered the attack. One pulse later, the sergeant was unconscious. "That is the last warning shot. All other shots will be lethal. Your criminal acts are finished." Radio chatter between the soldiers at my gate and the teams that intended to surround me could be heard. "Say again? What do you mean you can't get through? Entire property is protected by this barrier. Nothing enters without my permission. I have the backing of 2 governments. Well, you are criminals of one. Following illegal orders is not allowed. You can't just say, 'I was following orders,' and get out of the consequences of your actions today." That should be such a thing. If the order is given that's illegal, it is illegal for you to follow the order, so thus you should not follow the order, thus you can't be court-martialed. But the whole system is built so that they can give you those orders and fuck you over. And be like, "Yeah, you know, we can tell you to do whatever. Yeah, just go kill that family. They're bad. They're Chinese nationals." They're not even Chinese. No, just because they're white doesn't mean they're Chinese. Cannot sleep. Why not, Callie? I cannot dream tonight. Oh, is this going to be a good story, Callie? Make a good story. I'm so down for this. I'm sold. Sound of distant mortars firing could be heard, but again, they were useless. "Husband, do you want some air support?" Karena was all too generous at this moment. "Mother wouldn't mind. No casualties if you don't mind, but removal of all equipment used illegally wouldn't be amiss." 10 minutes later, several frame lines exited the portal and took to the air. Having the same shield modulations allows them to pass through the barrier. Same as if it weren't there. Follow the instructions from the good witch. Tell yourself not to dream about something. True. See, Sean knows what's going on. Not long afterwards, several blasts of energy removed the existence of the military vehicles and all the weaponry brought to bear against us, while leaving the personnel unconscious but unharmed. Then the helicopters arrived. Not all were military, some were news choppers. Don't damage the white craft, those are news craft. Let them see everything. Military craft were all shot, then lowered to the ground by a beam of some kind. Once on the ground, they were shot again, removing the craft from existence. Jets suffered the same fate. Multiple millions of US dollars worth of equipment was wasted with no effect against my treehouse. Soon, a news media van arrived at the gate. All was quiet now. Bodies lay everywhere, but all were alive. Sir, I'm Kent Reed from CNA. Would you care to explain what's going on here? I smiled. Why, yes, I believe I would. Military officers, soldiers, and special agents all decided to attack my property without cause. As a result, equipment worth more money than you could ever dream of having was wasted in a vain attempt at taking something that didn't belong to them. The US has nothing that can harm this barrier, not even nuclear weapons, are a threat to me and my family. But you and yours would be wiped out in an instant. Certain these agents arranged for this attack without the president's authorization. Kept talking about my gold mine and radiation due to the fear I had nuclear weapons, owing to one of my wives surprised to know that your nation has nuclear weapons. I offered for them to bring a Geiger counter here and survey my property for any traces of radiation, but instead gestured at the seeming carnage around us. Total US military defeat. I would note, not one of them are dead this time. Won't be generous again. Expect the president to assign this property as an embassy for the governments of Telis and Guyana. Both nations can be reached through my portal, if you have my authorization. Even though crafts are here with my permission, they're called Framehind. Even those crafts are here with my permission. They're called Frameline, and I had to request their deployment in this incident to prove a point. If we wanted to interfere with U.S. governance, we would have. Each and every one of these people is to be under courts martial, and not one of them is allowed to remain in their respective services. This is the absolute minimum to avoid all-out war that the U.S. cannot even compete in, let alone win. Sir, are you serious? The newsman asked. Very. I have the title of prince in one country of Guyana, and I am the son-in-law of the matriarch of all Telis as well. I offer refuge to any man who's attracted to animals as well. I have a couple of friends who are of races they'd find attractive, and that aren't animals. There are also Arakan-like people. So you find insects sexy, you might be for you, and they welcome any man who's willing to make children. Hank, Cressa, and Yvonne came out of the portal. What the actual fuck is going on out here? Hank demanded. You mind? We're on live TV. Bleeping is expensive, Hank. I called. As to what happened, this was inevitable. No matter how hard we tried to hide things, there was no chance that the feds wouldn't stick their noses in where they didn't belong. Did you kill them? Yvonne asked timidly. Shaking my head, I answered. No, not even one of them. I really should have, at least, with the agents, but I didn't. Cressa pranced in place, tense, ready to defend her man if needed. Who's that man? She asked, pointing to the newsman. This is Kent Reed from CNA. That's the Central News Authority. So everything that's happened here will be seen by millions of viewers worldwide, meaning there's no chance of them pretending it didn't happen, and thus they must treat us appropriately as an embassy of two independent nations, while I myself am of a neutral party who is attempting to broker peace between all three nations. Thanks for considering the cost of bleeping comments. Right now, I didn't even think the networks would care about a few well-deserved swears. What is your goal in this? I can't wait for a world when no one gives a fuck what anyone says as far as words go. Words don't mean anything, and everyone just says a different word meaning the same thing. So if you go on TV and you say curtains, you're still saying fuck. I'm not the one who started this. What's your goal in this? I'm not the one who started this. They came here without cause and opened fire. It's self-defense at its finest. My home is private property, and these people came here to remove me from it. Again, without cause. Plenty of laws to protect myself and anyone in America from this kind of governmental theft. Since I can't trust them to behave, I'm declaring my property as no longer being part of the Union. It's clear I can protect my land without the U.S. government and from them as well. They can't afford a war. And if they don't want to do the right thing in this instance, that's what they're going to have. Next thing you know, there will be no military weapons worldwide. My nose is so itchy. Why? There's that fucking hair stuck in there. Hell yeah, Sean. Tie it all together. Eventually it had to happen, right? Bringing it all together. Let's go. I believe we have the power. Let's go. All right. Alright. And now we move on to Eye of the World.